What's going on, guys? Jeff's Reeftank here with an update for my 300-gallon office tank. So I wanted to follow up on one of the things that I had on my last video, which was the skimmer, the performance of my skimmer. For those who watched the episode, I took out my whole sump from the bottom of my stand here and basically changed both pumps to, because what was happening was the skimmer would be performing and then it wouldn't produce any skimmate, and then it would perform again, it wouldn't. So it seemed like it fluctuated, so I thought it was just something with the pump. So I kept those pumps, but I decided to get two new ones. So this is the second time I'm doing this. And it's still the same issue, where some days you come, there's no skimmate for a day or two, and then it comes and it's overflowing. And the skimmer has been online for a long time, so which led me to look a little further into the situation. And what I ended up doing was finding out that the voltage in where I'm at, as far as my office is at, fluctuates. So what I did was give you guys a quick visual on it. So you can see this is my apex. So the orange is the voltage of my my apex. So you can see it fluctuate anywhere from 118 volts up to 124 volts. So, and this seems like it's a cycle that mirrors my skimmer performance. The blue is my skimmer, and it shows the wattage, and you can tell when there is a decrease in voltage, the line voltage coming into my apex, that it definitely affects the skimmer's performance. So you can see the dips and the valleys. As far as the blue, that's the performance of the skimmer. That's the wattage consumed of the skimmer. So this pretty much solves the mystery, which I've been dealing with for a while, adjusting the skimmer up and down. And I think it had something to do with even my hair algae outbreaks, because I would be addressing it down too much, and then it wouldn't be performing at all, and would lead to nutrient spikes in my tank. So that's the latest on that. So pretty much what I did was adjust it to the point where when the voltage comes back up, if it does not overflow, then that's something I'm going to keep it at, and keep an eye on my tank and make sure that it's not, I don't see any signs of any hair algae, nuisance algae, or anything like that. So I'll take a look at that. I'm not sure what else I can possibly do. Also, I was thinking of possibly getting a DC pump skimmer, and hopefully the voltage variability that's happening on my line voltage into my equipment won't affect the performance of the DC skimmer motor as much as the AC. So that's something I'm going to be considering, but it's a big ticket item. It's almost $1,000 for a decent skimmer for the tank of my size. So that's pretty much it. Another update I do have is on the Trident. It's been working very, very, very well. I'll show you guys my dashboard. So you can see this is some of the spikes. The last spike you see is because I did a water change on Friday, or Saturday, I'm sorry, and it actually increased my alkalinity, spiked my calcium, and give you guys a little zoom in a little bit more. But you can see now it's working its way down. It's going to work its way down. That was around 8.2 in that range, hovering around 8.2 until it spiked it up to 8.75, 8.81 at its peak right after the water change. So let's see what I'm going to do about that. I do a water change, 44 gallons, which equates to 10% every 3 weeks. So, and I'm using a salt that has alkalinity of 11 to 12 DKH. So that's what's causing the spikes, and I've been doing this all along and really see no adverse effects to my tank. But with the Trident now, I can see exactly what's happening with all my parameters, which is one of the beautiful things about the Trident. Even if you go back a little ways, you can see the performance of the tank and what I did to make some adjustments. And if there's any dips and valleys, know that I may have to adjust my reactor, which I figured out here. the CO2 in my reactor was starting to run low, and you could see the alkalinity started dropping more and more and more until I realized that was the issue, and I turned it up a couple of notches, and it's back to normal now. So, but yeah, I would say the Trident for a system where you do have a lot of SPS and you need to maintain your parameters, it's a beautiful tool, and it really helps me out to make sure I can keep an eye on what's going on and avoid any major fluctuations. So with that being said, since I added that Apex item to my equipment list and picked up the Trident at Manhattan Aquariums, I did decide, since I saw the calcium reactor wasn't performing the way it was, I decided to go ahead and get a module here, a couple of modules actually. PM1, I picked this up from Saltwater Aquariums, and also while I was at it, I figured since I'm going to have a module in my fish room, I got a leak detection kit which helps with any leaks that may arise from hoses falling down or anything overflowing there. I'm going to be monitoring pH in my reactor, which right now is basically just dialed in by flow. There's no control over the actual pH inside the reactor, so that's something that I'm going to be doing, adding this to it, and also connectivity probes, so when I am mixing up salts in one of the bins, I can actually keep an eye on it. So two things that really add-ons, really not 100% necessary, but I'm also thinking about getting a breakout box for my skimmer, so if and when it does overflow, that I'll be able to see it and it'll stop the skimmer from overflowing. But other than that, tank is coming along pretty well. I did see some evidence of, hopefully it's not pests, but I thought I saw some bite marks on one of my SPS that I had here. What I did was I just took it out and threw it out. If it's going to have pests on it, I definitely don't want them in my tank. I moved everything I picked up from Long Island Aquariums. It's been in my QT for 2 months, and the growth was amazing. I moved everything into my main display now, so you see a couple of new frags here on the lighter colored rock. Those are the new pieces that I picked up and have been sitting in my QT for the last 2.5 months. And that's pretty much my system for quarantine, and to make sure that there's no pests that are alive on it. I dip them, and after that, I make sure that there's no eggs. So pretty much it goes through its whole cycle, and I saw no evidence of any pests. So I moved them into my main display. As you can probably see here, I got a new addition here. This is sailfin. I got Red Sea sailfin tang. Picked him up from LFS out in Connecticut. So that's one guy, and I also have my first edition of the wrasse family here, yellow coarse wrasse. He has been burying himself in the sand at night and getting some wrasses just in case there is any issues with pests, flatworms, or whatever they may be. I want to see if I can head it off at the pass and put some more workers in there to keep the pests down. So you can tell powder blue doesn't like that sailfin, but the sailfin's much faster, so he's a little tough guy. He didn't eat for the first day, but after that, he's been doing his thing and holding his own. So there is some cyano that's came up over the last couple of weeks. Actually, it's a little over a month now. So what I'm probably going to do is get some Dr. Tim's. There is a refresh and a waste away option that they have a formula for eradicating cyano. Cyano rears its head around 2 or 3 times a year in my tank, so I'm going to see if Dr. Tim's method would actually help it from coming back. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But other than that, just give me a quick look around the other side. One other thing I definitely strongly recommend is this guy right here. Fritz Glass Cleaner. It's an amazing product. I have the, you can probably see one here. I got the Flipper Maxes, and what they do is pretty much it has a pad on the outside and a metal scraper on the inside. But what's happening since I've cleaned the glass with the Fritz, it's made this tool glide across the glass seamlessly. So making maintenance a lot easier, and definitely helping me out as far as keeping the glass clean, and any drips from salt water on the outside have been easily wiped away. It's nice and smooth, it glides along. So yep, other than that, it's pretty much my update. The lights are going down on this half of the tank, and yep, so I got another sand sifting starfish as well. Hopefully it helps stir up the sand. My goby that I had here in the tank is no longer around, so that may be what's causing the cyano to start to grow on my sand. But other than that, I do see a light coating on the rock as well, but it's nothing that's killing any corals. So that's the deal. But all right, other than that, everything looks healthy, coming along. This Monty is growing like a monster. I got this from Tidal Gardens as a frag, and it's doing nothing but growing to the point that it's starting to frag itself. You can see a piece, fish broke off a piece and it's laying on a rock on the other side. Also this Millie, this is another one from Manhattan Aquariums. You can see all the tips on it. It's going to be probably one of the biggest corals in the tank eventually when it grows out. This is a new frag here that I got from Long Island Reef swap, frag swap. So that's going well. Green Slimers, always hardy, doing their thing here. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the update for this month. I'm gonna start running into issues with corals hitting each other. As you can tell, there's starting to be a battle for space. So one bird's nest is growing into another, and another bird's nest is growing into the Monty. And you can tell here there's a little battle for space as well. More than likely the green slime is going to win, but I've actually seen Monties grow around other SPS as they played out. So I'm trying to keep my Monties low, as low as possible, so they don't start to shade out other corals below them. But so far so good. Everything's growing and doing well. So all right, hope everybody's enjoying their tanks, and we'll talk to you guys on my next update. Later, guys.